The joy of traveling well is feeling at home, yet a million miles away from home. Letting your thoughts drift away to where your curiosity awakens. Taking things at your own pace, but in perfect harmony. Discovering new flavors, or savoring the ones you already love. Not knowing what lies beyond the horizon, but knowing what matters most to you. This is the joy of traveling well.
Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from today. I'm Janet Anderson with Pavlus Travel, coming to you from a semi-beautiful Pacific Northwest day. We planned this virtual event to coincide with the announcement today of the preview to the new Oceania 2028-2029 itineraries. It gives you the opportunity to hear and see what is being launched. Plus, you can begin pre-registering today for your requested choice of itinerary and sailing date, where these officially open for sale on June 17th. Both Joe from Oceania and Michael will go into more detail on pre-registration. We also wanted to include details on the Oceana's Aurelia launching in December of 2027, as well as something new introduced on Oceania with their Link Digital Center. More to come in the next few minutes. A few items. During the presentation, your microphones are muted and cameras are off, but you will be seeing and hearing from our hosts, both from Oceania and Pavlus Travel. If you experience any issues, please try logging off and back on again. This generally assists in resolving the issue. Toward the end of the presentation, we will have time for live questions. Please type them in the Q&A box. We also have an Oceania team member working behind the scenes to help answer questions, as well as time for the live questions. If we don't get to your question today, we will have your Pavlus Travel planner reach out to you. Pavlus Travel guests will also receive a copy of the presentation as well as details about the special offer. This event special, Oceania is extending exclusively to Pavlus Travel. So great time in joining today. I'd like to start the lineup with one of our own, Michael Steidel, who has been promoted this week to Chief Luxury Growth Officer at Pavlus Travel. Welcome and congratulations, Michael.
Janet, thank you so much for that introduction and welcome everyone to this what will be a fantastic, I should say, Oceania presentation. As Janet mentioned, I've recently taken on the role of Chief Luxury Growth Officer, and I couldn't be more excited. It's going to allow me to focus more on our strategic position in the market and ultimately to make sure that we are delivering a top notch client experience at Pavlus Travel. And that really starts with getting information to you and to continue to ensure that our partnerships with the cruise lines are as strong as possible and make sure that we continue to grow our efforts to ultimately provide you all an excellent experience in every way possible. Whether this is the first time you're hearing the name Pavlus Travel, or whether you have been a longtime guest of ours, or anything in between, we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. It's an exciting day at Pavlus Travel because we get to talk about a new season launch with Oceania Cruises. They have got a fantastic list of 2028 and 2029 cruises that will be released. The preview period starts now, and we thought that this would be the perfect opportunity to introduce you to some of those key sailings, to get you the resources that you need to view what is going to be released, and then to follow up with our team to make sure that you are pre registered for the cruise that most closely aligns to what you want to book. Every time we get a release like this, we always encourage you to do your research, to find the cruise that works with you, or work with our team to find the cruise that works for you, and get your name on the list to secure your space on these cruises. And it is really hard to believe we're talking about half of the latter half of 28 into 2029. But I will tell you, people are booking their cruises further and further out. And if you are truly interested in securing your space, and making sure that you get a great deal and the best staterooms available, this is the opportunity to act. This is the time to act. And I couldn't be happier to have Joe and Eric here to talk a little bit more about why you should consider Oceania Cruises, and in particular, which of these new cruises that you should consider. So, without further delay, I'd like to introduce Joe Eastip, who has started working with Pavlus over the last year or two, and has been instrumental into our continued success with Oceania Cruises. Joe's going to take us through the new season launch, and then he'll be followed by Eric, who will tell us a little bit more about the new Link Digital Center, some enhancements being made to the onboard experience on Oceania. And then Joe will also share some special promotions, some details of the pre registration, and our fantastic event special. You don't want to miss that. Make sure you stay on, and I'll be back on toward the end of the webinar as well to talk a little bit more specifically about why you should be booking your Oceania cruise with Pavlus. So without further delay, Joe, take it away.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We really appreciate you joining us today. We've got a ton of really exciting information to go through, starting off with just a look at what makes Oceania different and unique. I know we have some people that have not sailed with us in the past joining today, so we want to give you an idea of what to expect on your first Oceania cruise. And then we'll jump right into the main event, looking at our 2028 and 2029 collection of voyages. We're so excited about some of the new offerings that we have. So we'll give you a look at what you have out there and what is coming. And then moving into our newest ship, we're really excited about some changes that we're making to one of our existing vessels. So many changes. In fact, it's getting a new name, it's getting a new naming ceremony, and a lot of new innovations that we've launched on some of our other ships will be debuting on the new Oceania Aurelia. And so we're going to bring on Eric to give you an idea of what to expect with the Link Digital Center, which is one of the concepts that debuted on Vista and has been a huge hit with all of the guests that have experienced that so far. And then last but certainly not least, give you a look at some of the special offers that we have for you to take advantage and go on your first or maybe your second, maybe your 20th Oceania cruise. So looking at the beginning, we have our own unique definition of what luxury means, and I'm sure you all do too, but at the end of the day, what it comes down to is how it makes you feel. And so when we look at the Oceania experience, it really hasn't wavered from 2003 when we first got started. We recognized that there was a subset of people traveling by cruise ship that were traveling for a different set of reasons. And first and foremost, when we ask our guests, the number one reason we hear as far as why they choose to sail with us is the amazing itineraries that we put together. We really pioneered a concept of how we build those itineraries in a different and unique way, mixing in not only the marquee destinations, but also the boutique, off the beaten path ports of call, and giving our guests more time in these destinations with more extended stays or even overnights in ports where you're getting multiple days to experience those destinations. But what really sets us apart from some of our competitors is just the variety. We have over 272 unique itineraries in 2026 alone, allowing us to visit over 600 destinations around the world, more than double some of our nearest competition. So we have more destination for you, which is really part of the value proposition. You're getting more destination per dollar, which is really important. If that's why you're choosing to travel to go see the world, we want to give you as much of it as possible. And looking at our ships, we recognized that there were people that weren't sailing because of the ships and all the different amazing amenities, but they wanted the convenience of a smaller ship without the crowds, without having to wait in line, but still having all of the options that you would expect on a larger vessel. And so I love the fact that we have kind of our own little niche in shipbuilding, building ships that are in that 1,200 to 1,400 guest count range. Allows us to give you that experience in a smaller, more intimate atmosphere while still giving you the variety that you would expect on a much larger vessel. But what really makes the ship special and unique, we hear it time and again from our guests, is the genuine hospitality. This is true, authentic service, intuitive, thoughtful, and it's really a family type environment. I've heard from so many different guests that stay in touch with our crew and staff that they've met on board. So a very special experience that you get from the crew and staff. And then last but certainly not least, probably the most enduring of our brand pillars is the fact that we put a flag in the sand back in 2003 and we said, you know what? We want to be known something. We're going to invest more than our competition in that area. And we want to create an environment where guests can experience the finest cuisine at sea. So not only in the investment, but in the way that we're building the ships as well. When we first launched Marina back in 2011, the first of our purpose-built ships, the shipyard used to kid us that we weren't building a ship, we were building a floating galley because they calculated that Marina had the same amount of galley space as a ship twice its size. And that's because we have separate galleys for every single restaurant, allowing our chefs to cook a la minute. And speaking of chefs, we have one chef for every 8 guests on board. So again, it goes into the investment. The finest cuisine at sea is a great marketing statement, but you have to be able to back that up, and we certainly do. Marina also debuted the first ever hands-on cooking school at sea. So not only are our guests dining well, but it's an entire culinary ecosystem on board through the experiences that they have in the dining rooms, in the culinary center, even in the ports of call that we're visiting through all of the different culinary shore excursion options that we have. Things like our culinary discovery tours, where you're getting a tour combined with one of the cooking classes. So if you are a foodie, look no further. This is the cruise line for you. So that's really Oceania in a nutshell. But as I said, it really begins with the itineraries. The number one reason we hear from our guests and why they're sailing with us is the way that we're building these itineraries. And hundreds of distinct itineraries, as I said, over 272 unique itineraries, over 600 destinations around the world, giving you more time in these destinations. But it's more than that. It's more than just where we're going. It's how you get to experience these destinations. In each different port that we visit, there are a ton of different ways for you to experience that destination, depending on what your unique interests are. So we have everything from our Go Local tours, where you're going off the ship with a smaller group, getting out of the cities, out into the countryside, seeing how the people actually live in these destinations, going out and experiencing it like a true local. I already mentioned the culinary discovery tours, which is, seeing a destination through the lens of culinary. But we also have things like our Beyond Blueprints, where you can go on an excursion led by an architectural expert and see a destination through a completely different type of lens, and learning about the different architecture that is unique to that destination. Art tours, the list goes on and on and on. And so, like I said, no matter what your interests are, you can go deeper. We don't provide one basic city highlight tour in the ports that you visit. You have a ton of different options to choose from, and that gives you that opportunity to really immerse yourself and experience the destinations in a different way. So the highlight and the main event for today's presentation is looking at the newest set of itineraries that we've just launched, hot off the press, the 2028 and 2029 collection of voyages. So this is another 2 full season of voyages with over 230 unique itineraries. And that's definitely a differentiator. We don't do cookie cutter itineraries over and over again that you can just choose the date that you go on. So it's really important, and you are part of a very intelligent group of people that are acting early. Because these are all unique itineraries, they're different all the time. If there's one that you want, it's really important that you act early and secure your spot, because these will sell out, and some of these itineraries may only happen one time throughout the year. As I already mentioned, you'll see 64 overnight stays. And I always like to point out that not only is that going to give you more time in the destination, but in certain destinations, that allows you to experience it more authentically. And one of the examples I always like to use is Monte Carlo. Those of you that have been, you've probably visited the Grand Casino. If you haven't, maybe you've dreamed of having your James Bond moment where you go to the casino, have that martini, shaken, not stirred, of course, and maybe lose a little money at the tables with all the villains, right? Which sounds super fun, but you can't really do that at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and have an authentic experience. So by having an overnight or an evening departure, it gives you more opportunities to experience the destination the way that they should be experienced. Also 15 holiday voyages, which I'll get to here in just a minute. We really opened up the portfolio of holiday options with some new quiet Mediterranean season sailings, which we're really excited about. So I'll touch on those here in just a minute. But also highlighting those of you that are acting early are also taking advantage of the best offer. We are doing a reduced deposit of only 50% for a very limited time. So by the end of June, if you can decide on which sailing you want, we can take a half price deposit to secure your place, and then the normal payment structure would come into place. Also acting early, some of the suites and rooms that we have on board are limited in how many there are. And so if you have specific locations, specific categories of suites that you want to make sure you get your name on, it's really important to pre-register, especially when we're talking about some of the top ends and lower ends, our owner suites, Vista Suites, Oceania, or even on some of the R-class vessels where we still have insides or outsides or some of the lowest priced inventory. That stuff all does go quick. So starting on June 10th, we are allowing you to put your name on the pre-registration list. You can do that through our friends here at Pavlus Travel. Just contact them directly and they will take all of the information that we need in order to make sure you get what you want. We've also got some additional special offers that we're going to get to here in just a little bit, but that's our basic 50% for all of these new itineraries that are debuting. So let's look at where we are going. Some iconic destinations, maybe seen through a different and fresh perspective. Oceania Allura heading to the Mediterranean, doing traditional summertime voyages, but as I also mentioned, continuing through the cooler, quieter months of November through March. If you've never done that before, it's great to go to some of these marquee destinations like a Paris, like a Rome, and you don't have the crowds. You don't have to walk shoulder to shoulder through all of the main sites. You're not waiting in line out in the heat. So a great opportunity to get to Europe, see it in a different way. And then looking at some of the new vessels that are debuting, Oceania Sonata having her inaugural season with us next year, and then venturing over into Northern Europe, visiting a lot of different new destinations. And I think with the closure of St. Petersburg, having, to look a little bit deeper from an itinerary planning standpoint has really allowed us to think outside the box and build some itineraries that maybe go to some different destinations that you haven't thought of visiting before. So really take a look into some of those Northern Europe sailings that we have, and then the traditional Caribbean, Panama Canal, and Mexico. So let's look here. One of those holiday voyages, as I mentioned, quiet season in the Mediterranean. People like to head south, get somewhere warm for the holidays. Don't have to go to Caribbean. Why not Spain? Spain and Portugal, 9 days on the beautiful Oceania Allura, traveling from Barcelona to Lisbon. This is a fantastic way to celebrate the holidays. Somewhere warm, somewhere exotic. A great itinerary I wanted to definitely call out. I also wanted to point to Sonata heading to the Caribbean itineraries for the 2029 season. Really dive into these and go to the website and look at the day-to-days and the different smaller ports of call that we're visiting. If you've been to the Caribbean multiple times, you've been to St. Thomas, you've been to St. Martin, you've gone to all the regular places, and you want to go somewhere and maybe explore a little bit deeper, take a look at some of the places that we can take you. Rousseau, Dominica, probably the most exotic place that I've been this side of the world. I am traveling to Tahiti later this year, but I would say Dominica, if you just close your eyes and looked, you might believe you were in the South Pacific. That's how amazing, beautiful, lush that island is. But some really cool, unique destinations down in the Caribbean that maybe you haven't visited before. All right, turning now to Riviera. She will be returning to Alaska for her third season in a row. We're really excited. We're having a ton of success with the Riviera up in Alaska, doing, again, some really interesting itineraries. Some of them are longer than what you'll see with the more mainstream premium cruise lines doing the regular 7-day routes over and over and over again. We're doing 7, 10, 12, 14 different days, different opportunities for you to explore a little bit deeper into Alaska, going to some smaller boutique ports of call that the big guys don't go to. So if Alaska has been on your bucket list, definitely check those out. She will be spending her time in the summer of Alaska before venturing down into Asia, heading even farther off the beaten path. So really excited about that. But as I mentioned, here's an 11-day option that I said takes you a little bit farther, going to some of the main, marquee destinations that everybody visits, while also giving you an option to look somewhere maybe a little bit different. Also wanted to call out more than 60 overnight stays on these new itineraries. So 2028 and 2029, taking it a step further, giving our guests opportunities to spend more time in destinations like Copenhagen, Lisbon, Bangkok, or even, as you see here, the Opera House and the beautiful Sydney Harbor, or even smaller ports like Seville or Malé in the Seychelles. Turning now to Marina, spending some time in the Mediterranean before heading to Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. That's been a really hot destination. We've got multiple different opportunities to spend time in more intensive itineraries in New Zealand or Australia, or a combination of both thereof. And as I mentioned at the start, one of the things that we're really excited about is the debut of the Oceania Aurelia. She will be beginning her life in the Mediterranean, heading over here to the States before being christened in Miami and setting sail on her inaugural voyage of Around the World 2028. This ship is something special and unique. It is a legacy vessel. So currently we have a ship named the Oceania Nautica that has been part of our fleet for a very long time. I believe it was the second ship to join the fleet. So been with us since 2004, traveling the world, and it's time for her to take on a new life. And so we wanted to design a ship that fit with the new platforms that we have coming. We have 5 new Sonata-class ships joining our fleet over the next 10 years, and they've set a new bar as far as luxury cruising goes for Oceania. And so these R-class legacy ships, if there is a place for them in the fleet, they really needed to step the game up. And so we are completely redoing them. Currently, they hold 680 guests total. After the changes that we're making, where we're actually taking, 2 rooms, turning that room into one, making bathrooms larger, reconfiguring them, that will drop the guest count all the way down to 476, meaning 179 total suites and 59 standard rooms. The great thing is that we're not changing the amount of staff and crew. So currently, for the 680 guests that are sailing aboard the Nautica, we have a crew of 400 people. As the occupancy drops to 476, that crew number is staying the same. So almost a true 1-to-1 staff to guest ratio, ensuring only the most personalized service. And it's really going to be something special. We did an entire presentation not too long ago, so I think you can probably find that in the Pavlus library or contact them to get that information. But we did a full deep dive into Aurelia and all the differences and different suites and stateroom categories that are going to be on that ship. So go check that out if you haven't already. But we're also introducing some of the new innovations that have come out on both Vista and Allura that have already been very well received by our guests and will now have a new life on the R-Class through these renovations and the transformation into Aurelia. One of which is the Barista's Bakery, which debuted on Vista, a new bakery that is catty-cornered to the Barista's Coffee Bar. So it's a great place to go and grab a great coffee, all kinds of really just amazing pastries. They're all baked fresh every single day. So that's a huge hit, and we'll be also making the move over to Aurelia. As well as Founders Bar. That was another new innovation that debuted aboard Vista and was even expanded onto Allura because of the excitement that our guests had for this. This is our new craft cocktail bar where all kinds of new innovative cocktails are prepared by a team of just expert bartenders. Really fun area, all kinds of unique and interesting new cocktails, outside the box thinking. They are having a ton of fun designing these new cocktails. In fact, I was on a ship one time when all the chefs were there and doing a, I guess, tasting session. So a bunch of guys in white coats with straws tasting an entire bar full of cocktails that they were, it was, I think, actually the planning committee for the launch of Allura. So I was on Vista and they were coming up with all the new cocktails for Allura, which is really cool to watch. But Founders Bar will also be joining on Aurelia. The pizzeria at Waves, my new favorite place to grab a more casual dinner in the evening. Waves Bar is the poolside bar and grill. And in the evening now, it transforms into this new pizzeria concept with just amazing pizzeria style pizza. I can, in fact, smell the Tortufo pizza right now, which is a truffle cheese pizza. It is absolutely amazing. All kinds of different burrata salads. And like I said, it's a great sort of casual place to just grab a quick bite to eat if you need a break from some of the more formal dining experiences that you have in the specialty restaurants. We're also going to be debuting the Chef Studio. As I mentioned before, Marina, when she launched in 2011, debuted the world's first hands-on cooking school. And that concept has continued to evolve as we've been building new ships. And one of those innovations has been the Chef Studio, recognizing that not all of our guests wanted to do a full hands-on cooking experience, but wanted to come have more of an observation type experience, learn from the chefs, hear them talk, take them through the process, but this is more of a demonstration type of experience. So that venue and that whole space is going to be coming on Aurelia as well. And then really excited to have Eric Rivera, our manager of social media, with us here today. And he's going to talk to you about one of the new enrichment opportunities that debuted on Vista that has just been a raving success. Our guests absolutely love it. And he's going to take you in and talk a little bit more about what to expect in that venue and what types of experiences that they have for you.
All right. Thank you very much, Joe, for all that information. It seems we have a lot of exciting things coming up. And one of the most exciting things that we have really is, for me, at least, because this is a project that's very near and dear to me, is our Link Digital Center, as Joe mentioned. So our Link Digital Center, and we've been talking about Aurelia, so we obviously are going to have it in Aurelia. We're going to be bringing it to Aurelia, but the Link Digital Center already does exist. It is currently on Vista, Allura, and Riviera. So what is Link and why has it been so successful? Well, the Link Digital Center is our complimentary face-to-face e-learning program, and we teach a wide variety of classes which span social media, photography, videography, mobile devices, online privacy and security, and of course, now with all the talk of AI, we are starting to talk about AI, artificial intelligence. The topics that we teach range from beginner to advanced. The sessions run up to twice daily on C days, and then on select port days, we have up to 2 classes. It just really depends on our instructors on board, which we currently call digital concierges, but they will be changing their name soon. That title will be changing. But the digital concierge, what they will be doing is they will be teaching these classes, as I said, twice daily on C days, but on select port days, depending if there's early shore excursions or late departures, those classes will be, you have to look at your daily schedule on Currents, which is our onboard newsletter, to know which classes will be given that day. Guests can follow along to the classes on provided iPads that are in the Link Digital Center. And those iPads can actually be checked out for 24 hours so that you can learn at your leisure. So we have basically 2 settings on each one of the iPads. One is your in-class learning, so you will be following along with the instructor on the iPad. And then there are the learn at your leisure setting, which means you can check out that iPad, take it back to your stateroom, take it back to the pool area, and continue to learn about all these exciting new technologies from the comfort of wherever you are on the ship. So what was the objective of Link? Really what we saw was the idea of Link was really taken from We had seen a lot of people. I mean, if you are familiar with Apple and you're familiar with their stores, they have the Genius Bar where you can go in and you can openly ask questions about your devices. Now, obviously, it being Apple, those questions are only about Apple products and Apple services. So we decided, we wanted to do something where we could expand um, the opportunity to teach about a lot of things that we felt our guests were interested in, which was, everything that's going on in the digital space. Because a lot of times we feel that our demographic sometimes feels that and it not a lot of, I mean, a lot of people sometimes feel that they are a little bit behind the curve when it comes to all the latest and greatest when it comes to technology. So what we wanted to do was bring a safe space where they can ask all those questions. They have somebody that's well versed on all of these things that have to do with social media, photography, videography, sharing content on your iPhone or on your Android phone. But then in addition, a lot of things that popped up. We have added new classes because many of our guests were interested about in learning more about online privacy. How do I protect my data? How do I protect myself from spam and from different types of scams that are going on in the digital space? So that is one of the things that we started, was another class that we recently brought, which is online privacy and security, has been incredibly successful. And then, of course, like I said, artificial intelligence. So it's not only about that, but it was also we wanted to help guests grow comfortable with using social media, getting better at their photography skills. Because what a better way to get better at your photography skills than when you're visiting some really far off destination, these boutique ports that Joe mentioned, these really great voyages that we have, and you want to capture all of that. You want to capture those memories. The best place to do it is, through your phone, with your phone, capturing it with photography. So we teach you great skills on how to improve your photography, your videography, so that you can share your experiences with your family and friends back home as you are going on these incredible journeys. It's basically an interactive extension of the Oceania Cruises experience. And what we wanted to do is we wanted it to reinforce essentially our position as a luxury line with a real depth of enrichment. So it's not just our culinary classes, not just, the chef's studio and all the great tastings and things that they have, our shows, entertainment, all of the things that Joe has mentioned earlier. But now this is also an extension, which you have these classes that are complimentary. So you can join these classes. You just have to sign up and go to the Link Digital Center. One thing I will point out, though, is that the Link Digital Center, so the Digital Center as a actual space is currently only on Vista and Allura. It will be on Sonata when Sonata rolls out, and it will be on Aurelia as it rolls out. On Riviera, it is basically the Link Center program, and the Link Center program is conducted in one of our specialty restaurants. It's usually either Red Ginger or Toscana. Now, when we first started the program, we knew it was going to do well. We thought it was going to do well, and it's really been doing so well. We are very pleasantly surprised by how well it has been doing. And as you can see here from the numbers, this is just from 2026 alone. So far in 2026, we have had 10,922 guests take advantage of the classes. That is an average, since it's running on 3 ships currently, that is an average of 3,640 guests per ship. So it is really a huge success. People are loving it. They come back. Our digital concierges, who are our instructors, tell us that guests come back to the classes, sometimes repeat the classes because they just want more knowledge. Our digital concierges are always on hand to answer questions. You can take them aside and say, "Hey, can I meet you after class? I want you to help me with, with something that I'm sending to a friend of mine." They'll help you with all of that kind of stuff and tell you what are the best settings for your phone and how to best, let's say, take pictures of the sunset or of anything else that you are interested in when it comes to technology. The classes, like I said, consistently full. The program earns strong guest feedback, regular reaches capacity, so much so that on select sailings, the attendance, we've had to cap it just to protect the onboard experience, because we want our guests, our digital concierge, to have that one-on-one, face-to-face experience and give you that. One of the things that we talked about is that our hospitality is super important to us. So one of the things is we want to make sure sometimes that the classes get too big, we cap them so that the digital concierge can really give you his undivided attention, his or her undivided attention. So what are we looking forward to in 2027? We have something that we're putting together called Link 2.0. So Link 2.0, really what it is that we are continuing to develop the classes because of technology is moving so quickly. We really have to make sure that we are always consistently revisiting the program and making sure that everything is up to date. So in 2027, we refresh and unify the existing curriculum by expanding what guests can learn. We're going to continue raising the standard to the standard of luxury, the standard of the luxury enrichment experience that we want to offer, which means that we're going to refresh the content, so update the classes so that every lesson reflects today's tools and platforms. I mean, if you know about Twitter, Twitter no longer exists. It's called X now. People still call it Twitter, but it's that that some of our classes still say Twitter, so we have to refresh that. Some of the tools have changed on Instagram or Facebook or other platforms, so we want to make sure everything is up to date. We've had the classes, some of them when we initially created them had a different look and feel. So we are making sure that we're unifying all the classes into have a consistent look, so it's one cohesive experience. We're expanding the curriculum. This is what we're really excited about because we're going to be adding new classes to broaden the catalog. Currently, I believe we have about 23 different classes that we offer, but now we want to add even more classes to broaden that catalog and deepen our enrichment offering. Like I said, they span different topics such as AI and privacy and security, smartphones. I mean, we're going into a real in-depth digital experience. We're starting to look. I don't want to, let the cat out of the bag, but we are starting to look into other things that we can do with the Link Center that aren't only digital, but currently that is what we're going to be offering. All these, different classes when it comes to the technology and social media and photography space. And of course, we are expanding the Link Digital Center. We're going to be delivering these upgraded Link 2.0 experience to Marina when the Marina comes out of dry dock in Q4, and then also be expanding it. Like I said, Link 2.0 is actually going to be coming out with Sonata, and then it is going to be on the beautiful Aurelia, which is, as Joe was talking about, is our newest ship that basically Nautica that is going to be completely it's going to be completely redesigned. We are going to have a focus on these, incredible around the world cruises and these grand voyages. So even with Aurelia, I think what we're looking at doing with Aurelia or Link on Aurelia is that we're going to have an even more expanded curriculum because the voyages are going to be so long. We want to make sure that our catalog is vast so that when people are sailing on Aurelia, you're going to have a multitude of different classes that you can enjoy. And that way you're not repeating content or repeating classes. So it's going to have, we are looking at currently Link 2.0, probably even a Link 3.0 in the sense where Aurelia is going to have a sort of different look and feel to the classes are going to be more expanded and everything to suit those expanded voyages and those expanded itineraries. So to talk more about those expanded itineraries and what is going to happen with Aurelia and the Around the World cruise, I'm going to turn it back to Joe.
Thank you, Eric. Link is truly exciting. I want to take some classes. I'm behind the times as far as technology goes, so I'm sure there's some things that I could learn in some of those amazing classes that you talked about. So moving on to Aurelia's inaugural season. Like I said, she's going to spend a little bit of time in the Mediterranean with some shorter sailings, Rome to Trieste, Trieste to Athens, making her way to the US in January. So make it down to Miami where she will debark on her first around the world sailing. You'll see a couple sailings in October there that I'll get to here in a minute. But inaugural season around the world, 2028. What does this look like? A 180-day trip of a lifetime traveling from Miami to New York, visiting 6 continents, 35 different countries, 88 total ports, with 10 of those being overnight stays, the opportunity to visit 90 plus UNESCO World Heritage sites. This is truly a trip of a lifetime. If I had the time and my kids were a little bit older, maybe I would be interested in this, but I've got a few years before I'm able to do this. But one day, I'm going to make it happen. So the other really special thing about this inaugural around the world is guests booked on this that are going to be getting on the ship in January here in Miami are also going to be a part of a very special experience for the naming ceremony. I've been very fortunate in my 17-year career at Oceania to be a part of the Riviera inaugural, the Vista, as well as the Allura, and they are truly special. This is where you smash the champagne, they name the ship. There's all kinds of different executives that talk about what went into designing the vessel. So a really great opportunity if you've never been able to do that yourself. Think about that 2028 around the world, and that experience could be had by you as well. So looking here, I know this is a bit of an eye chart. So if you're interested, I would highly recommend going to the website where you can spend a little time diving deep into all of these amazing destinations. And like I said, look a little bit further. Look how much time you're getting. Where are the overnights? What are the different types of shore excursion opportunities in these different destinations? It really does set us apart when you take the time to see just the breadth and depth of ways that you can experience the world that are probably different and unique, and appeal more to the different types of things that you might be interested in and different ways that you might be interested in experiencing the world. As soon as the 2028 Around the World completes there in New York, the Aurelia will be embarking on the next grand voyage, New York to Boston, the Grand Nordic and Baltic Discovery. And this one I think is going to be really popular. I hear from guests all the time that want to go to Europe, they want to spend the summer in Europe, they want to do it all by cruise ship, they don't want to get on an airplane and do that transatlantic in a much more comfortable environment on board a ship. There really hasn't been a whole lot of people doing that. Longer sailings, US to US port, that is all based in Europe, and this is a great opportunity to do that. And as I said, Northern Europe. Because of some of the limited itinerary options that we have, we've really had to think outside the box. And so I think that the team has done an amazing job exploring further, finding some different and unique destinations for our guests to visit. So if you are one of those guests that has traveled extensively around the world, you've been there, you've done that, take a look at some of our Northern Europe opportunities, maybe even the grandest of them all, the Grand Nordic and Baltic Discovery, because I promise you there's probably some different, more boutique ports that you haven't visited before. At the conclusion of the Grand Nordic, that's where those two October sailings that you saw on the first slide come into play. She's going to do a Canada-New England round trip New York before making her way back down to Miami to embark on the Grand South America adventure. This is a grand voyage circumnavigating the entire continent of South America, as well as going down the chain of islands to get there. So really great opportunity to get into some of those smaller ports of call that I mentioned in the Caribbean, while also exploring all the way around South America, all the way down into Antarctica. You do spend days sailing in the Antarctic waters, which if you weren't aware, as soon as you cross into the Antarctic waters, there's all kinds of laws that the cruise ships have to follow. We have all kinds of expert lectures on board, different scientists, different ecologists talking about the environment, the wildlife, truly immersive Antarctic experience just from the comfort of the ship. While we will not have any actual Zodiac landings, just a great way to see the white continent in true comfort. But all the way around over to Los Angeles, where we will be embarking on the next Around the World adventure, the 2029 Around the World, Los Angeles to New York, slightly different than the 2028. Right off the bat, you'll see sailing out of Los Angeles in 28, we will be crossing over to Hawaii before down into the South Pacific, whereas in 2029, we are going to travel down back into South America before crossing through Easter Island over into the South Pacific. So both westbound routes, which I hear from other world travelers, that's the way to go as you're gaining time versus losing time. So a little bit more of a comfortable experience traveling west. And you can do it two different ways. 2028 offering one option, 29 doing it a little bit different ways. The other thing I would call out is in 28, it's a little bit more Australia intensive, whereas in 29, spending a little bit more time there in New Zealand. But touching both in both options either way. So the other great thing about our around the world voyages, and it's a little bit of a joke that I use anytime somebody asks me, what is the best value? What is the best deal you can get me on an Oceania cruise? And I always say that would be our around the world. And not only is it the lowest per diems, but you get the most amount of included amenities. As you see there, a world of inclusions always included. That list is something that we offer on every single Oceania voyage. Whether it is 7 days or 180 days, you can always look forward to complimentary specialty dining. In fact, Oceania has more included specialty dining than any other cruise line out there. Think about that for a moment. When the size of our ships are what they are, that's pretty impressive to be able to say. The other thing is you can look forward to the most personalized service, and you don't have to worry about the crew and staff getting taken care of. All of the gratuities are included in your fare, so they are well taken care of, and you can rest comfortably enjoying that personalized service. You're also going to stay connected. Unlimited Wi-Fi is included on every single one of our sailings, and that is Starlink internet, so very fast. Even when you're in some of these far-flung destinations, it works really great. All of the non-alcoholic beverages, including all of the specialty coffees, teas, juices, even the fresh pressed juices in Aquamar Spa Kitchen, all available complimentary. And laundry service, whether that is self-service in our complimentary laundrettes, or anybody sailing in the concierge level and above also gets included laundry service. For guests traveling on the ultimate voyages, traveling around the world, they get the additional exclusive prestige package, which is going to give you first class domestic air to and from embarkation and debarkation ports, one night pre-cruise hotel stay, all of the transfers, luggage delivery. If you think about how many bags you might need to take on a 6-month adventure, that might be cumbersome to travel with. So don't worry, we have a company that comes to your house, they'll pick up all your bags, and those bags will be waiting for you at the ship so that you can travel with the convenience of just having a carry-on. We're also going to have all kinds of exclusive shoreside events throughout the voyage, and all the visas that you're going to need are included in that price as well. There's some extra steps that you have to fill out, paperwork and all of that to get the visas, but all of the cost is included in the price of the around the world voyage. Another thing to call out on some of these longer sailings, you have an opportunity to really catapult up our loyalty program with the amount of time you spend on the ship on these sailings. You can jump really quickly, as you see here in this chart, going from bronze to platinum, silver to platinum, gold to platinum, and the amount of dollars that is going to impact you with is pretty substantial. This is another great time to call out the fact that we now have a tri-branded loyalty program. So whether you're sailing on either of our sister brands and have achieved a higher status aboard either of those, it now translates across all three of us. So if you are a platinum on Regent, you are a platinum on Oceania, or even NCL. There is just again, a little bit of paperwork that you have to fill out, as you can see here, a email address to send the information to, and then we can match that status for your bookings. So also wanted to call out a new program that we have for referrals. So if you've sailed with us before and you are, looking at one of these new 28, 29 collections of voyages and you want to bring some of your friends that haven't sailed with us, we will incentivize you to do so. So with the Ambassador program, past guests can introduce a new to brand guest, and both parties will receive a $200 future cruise credit that they can either apply to their first sailing or on future sailings thereafter. So for those of you that have sailed with us before, spread the good word, tell everybody how amazing the Oceania experience is, and you can benefit as well as them for their first Oceania sailing. All right, so last but not least, just to review what kind of value you are getting when you're sailing with us. As I mentioned, value is something that we think shouldn't be prescribed. And everybody wants something a little bit different about out of their cruise experience. And so by telling you this is a one-size-fits-all proposition, we may be including things that you don't want. And so we take a little bit of a different approach. So as I already went through on that last slide, there are some standard inclusions, no matter when or how you're sailing with us, that are set. Those being the specialty restaurants, the gratuities, the Wi-Fi, all things that we feel all of our guests want and will benefit from having included in their fares. Where we tend to give you the choice is when it comes to alcohol. If you're not a drinker and we include all the beverages and package that into your price, you might feel like you're paying for something that doesn't benefit you and you can't take advantage of. So we want to give you that option. If you're not a drinker, you can apply that as a generous shore excursion credit instead and book any of those amazing tours that I talked about and have that as an extra amenity included in your fare. So you have the choice of either. That way you can make sure that you're getting the best value no matter what you're looking to get out of the experience. The other thing I think is really important to note, we are talking about sailings all the way out into 2029 at this point, which is pretty crazy. And you might be worried, why would I book something that far out now? There might be a deal that comes out later. Well, I can promise you, with our best value guarantee, that's a worry that you can let out of your head. And it's more important, as I already mentioned, the fact that some of these itineraries only happen once. It's much more important to secure your spot. And you can rest easy knowing that with our best value guarantee, if there are last minute, more tactical promotions that come out closer to that sailing, you can take advantage of that new offer if it is determined that it is a better value. No questions asked. You just contact your Pavlus Travel advisor and they can facilitate that change for you. So don't worry, secure your place, sit back and dream, start the planning process, start figuring out all the amazing things that you're going to do on that fantastic voyage, and don't worry about anything happening in between. And then last but not least, as I said at the onset, we recognize that you took some time out of your day to come here and learn about Oceania and our new amazing itineraries that we have for 28 and 2029, and we want to reward you as such. And so as a special thank you, for those of you that decide to sail with us and make your booking within the next 2 weeks, so 2 weeks from when we launch our new itineraries, starting on June 17th through July 1, we will be adding an additional $250 onboard credit to use however you want. And that would be in addition to the other great promotions that we have for you. So this is exclusive through your Pavlus Travel advisors. So make sure you contact them directly between June 17th and July 1st to take advantage of this extra special benefit and amenity on top of what is already a fantastic value. So I hope that we've wet your whistle or enticed you in a way to maybe go to our website, dig a little bit deeper, take the time to look through these itineraries, look at how much time you're getting in these amazing destinations and all of the different types of ways that there are for you to experience those, because we can't wait for you to come and sail with us again. And so just to leave you with, let me be the first one to welcome you aboard. So I will turn it back over to you, Michael, to talk about some of the different things that Pavlus has to offer in our great relationship.
Joe, thank you so much. An incredible job. I hope you all are as excited as I am about these 2028 and 2029 cruises. It is the perfect opportunity to book your next trip with Pavlus Travel on Oceania today. And that webinar special, I have to tell you, the onboard credit starts at $250, as the slide says. But depending on how long your cruise is, that onboard credit can increase to up to $1,000, depending upon the length of your sailing. So if you're looking at any Oceania cruise, and certainly this offer is going to apply to the new season launch, but starting June 17th for a 2-week period, this onboard credit will apply to any Oceania cruise booking that is not one of their special super saving last minute cruises. Our team's got the full details, so reach out if you've got any questions. But now is the best time, whether you're looking at 28 or 29, or you're looking at something a little sooner on Oceania, give our team a call. And I want to spend just a couple of minutes talking about why you should book your cruise with Pavlus Travel. And whether you are new to Pavlus, this is your first webinar, this is the first time you've heard the name Pavlus Travel, or maybe you've been booking your cruises with us for years, it doesn't matter. We appreciate you being with us today. And I won't take too long talking about this, because at the end of the day, we want to make things as simple, as easy, and as beneficial for you in working with a travel agent. Your experience with Pavlus starts with your dedicated personal travel planner. They are your point contact. They're here to answer your questions, lend their expertise, and make the process in booking your cruise as convenient as possible. They'll help differentiate itineraries, match you with the right cruise line, and answer any of the questions that you have as you're considering your next cruise, tour, or river cruise. They are professionals. They have been trained by our top preferred cruise lines, and they are here to make the process as easy and as smooth as possible. They're your point contact now, but also we hope that you enjoy working with them so much as an individual that you'll book your future cruises with that same person. Our personal travel planner team stays incredibly busy, but they are backed up by our guest relations and our air concierge teams. Those teams are here to make sure you're well informed as you prepare for your cruises, or of answer any of your questions as they come up. So our guest relations team will be reaching out to you with important requirements to make sure all information is on file and to make sure you're well prepared ahead of your trip. And certainly things can go wrong in travel. It would be wrong of me to tell you that things don't go wrong. But our team is here to make the process as smooth as possible. And when things do go wrong, we become your best advocate. We have got great relationships with cruise line executives, with people that are decision makers and can make situations right when things go wrong. Our air concierge team, on a similar vein, is here to help guide you in the right choice when it comes to making air reservations for the travel you book with us. And many travel agents out there don't want to touch air. They'll tell you to book it direct, to go to another online site to book your air or call the airlines. We want to help you with the entire package. Whether that means booking your flights with Oceania Cruises and taking advantage of any promotions that they may have, or booking with the airlines on your behalf. We have developed an entire team who are air concierge experts that are going to point you in the right direction and make sure that you're well taken care of. And the schedule that you book today could change, but our air team is here to make things as comfortable and as easy as possible when those changes do happen. The other caveat is that uh, our air team has got a dedicated 24/7 answering service. So when we are closed and you've got air issues, you can call a line that somebody with access to our reservations will pick up and answer your questions and make sure that if flights need to be rerouted or changed, that they're available to you. Ask your travel planner about that. And certainly, again, now is the best time to take advantage of booking your Oceania cruise with Pavlus. Give us a call, 800-528-9300, or call your personal travel planner directly, and we would love to book your next cruise at Pavlus Travel. I'd like to turn the webinar now back to Janet and Joe and Eric. There are a couple of questions that have come up that we'd like to answer, so I will turn it back to them now. Thank you again for being with us, and we hope you'll consider Pavlus Travel for your next cruise, river cruise, or tour booking. Take it away, Janet.
Joe and Eric, thank you for making today work. As we know, it's preview day at Oceania, and it gives our guests the opportunity to see and hear from you on the 2028-2029 launches that are happening on June 17th. And also, Eric, thank you for bringing an overview on the Link Center. It's such an incredible venue on board, and we wanted it to have something new included. So thank you. So we do have a few questions. And just for any questions that we do not get to today, we'll have your Pavlus Travel Planner reach out to you and follow up with you. So first question, this is for you, Eric. On the Link Digital Center, which I experienced on board the Allura and loved it, can you talk about, are there costs involved for the guests? Do they sign up for classes ahead of time or on board? So just kind of an overview with the Link Digital Center.
Sure. So with the Link Digital Center, just to, yeah, so it is, once again, it is complimentary. There are no costs associated with it. So the way you sign up basically is on embarkation day, we have an open house at the Link Digital Center so that you can go and speak with the digital concierge and learn a little bit more about the classes. And so you can just head up to Deck 14 on Allura, as you said, and as well on Vista. On Riviera, it's a little bit different. It would be at one of the specialty dining restaurants, but what they do is they usually have a desk on embarkation day in the lobby. So what you can do is you just head over and speak to the digital concierge. He will have a bunch of different sign-up sheets for each class. They'll be, they'll be named. So it will say, digital photography, it's one of them. We have landscape and travel photography as another class. Online privacy basics, like I was talking about, which is a class that many people are interested in. So each one of those sheets will be available, and then all you have to do is sign up. And like I said, usually they sign up, they book pretty quickly. So the best thing to do is head over there on embarkation day, talk to the digital concierge, put your name on the list, and that's it. You just show up at the time. The sign up sheet will be specific to what date and time you're going to have the class, and you just head up and show up to the class that you signed up for. And I'm sure you'll have a great time in one of our classes.
Oh, thank you. And it can be so overwhelming. And so you take overwhelming out of the equation. They're personal. They help me. I took that privacy and security class. The AI one was something that I was going to sign up for as well. But anyway, thank you so much because you make it easy and smooth for us. Joe, this is for you. Can you talk about solo opportunities in more detail on Oceania?
Yes, fantastic question, and pretty relevant just because I learned some new information recently. But to start with, for solo travelers, we do have an evergreen promotion. If you go to our website, there's a special offers tab that will have a link that takes you to the list of sailings that have reduced solo supplements. So if you aren't aware, when solos travel, when you look at our pricing, everything is per person. So what do we do with solos? Do they have to pay double? No. In a lot of cases, we have these reduced pricing. So check those out. Those are the best deals for solo travelers. But in addition to that, what I learned most recently is that on every one of our sailings, we do have social hosts that organize all kinds of activities for solo travelers, whether those are shared meals, meet and greets. They're organizing group classes and things like the Link Digital Center or Culinary Center. So they're really trying to do a lot as far as getting the solo travelers engaged with the rest of the ship. And so there's a big, extensive program kind of going on behind the scenes. But I would start at those reduced price sailings and then go from there.
Great, thank you. And then regarding your shore excursions, you talked about culinary, beyond blueprints. Can you book those ahead of time? And also, where can guests access the shore excursions that are included on each of the itineraries?
Yes, great question. So that was actually a big project that we had in some recent years as far as getting the excursions loaded into the system earlier. We had heard from our guests that, a lot of their decision-making process revolved around what types of experiences there were going to be in all of these amazing places that we're taking them. And so now, most, if not all, excursions are loaded for each sailing 1 year in advance. So a year prior to sailing what you're going to be able to do, and you can start pre-booking those at that time. What's even better about that, as I mentioned in the presentation, you have the option on every booking with us to choose either a shore excursion credit or a beverage package. So if you've chosen the shore excursion credit, or if you have taken advantage of this great offer that we have for you today and made a reservation that gives you an extra $250 shipboard credit, that can all be used ahead of time to pre-reserve your shore excursions. So that's like, it acts kind of like a debit and credit, right? So you've got that balance, and as you book excursions, we credit off of that balance. So we try to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to experience all of these amazing excursions that we have. And just like securing your spot on the ship is so important, securing your spot on these shore excursions is also so important. As I said, some of them, like Go Local, for instance, those are much smaller groups. We're talking 10 to 12 people in some cases, because you might be going into somebody's personal home. That's the type of tour that those are. So if that's the kind of thing that you're interested in, it's even more important to plan early.
Great. Thanks for those tips too. I also want to thank both you and Michael for going over the pre-registration that starts today as they open for sale next week. And that was one of the questions that we had. Another question was, will I be receiving a copy of the recording and highlighting the event special? The answer is yes. We're going to put together the recording and the event special, and you should have it in your inbox by end of day tomorrow, June 11th. So I want to say, and I'll turn this over to you, Joe and Eric as well. Thank you so much again for making today work, for being an incredible partner, delivering an amazing special product. I loved the Allura. Oceania just does things uniquely, differently, and special. So thank you. Thank you to our guests for joining, the loyal guests, the repeat guests on Oceania, and the new guests that joined today as well. So thank you, Joe and Eric, and I'll turn this over to you to close.
Yeah, thank you, Janet. We really appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to your clients. We have a unique relationship with Pavlus Travel. The owner, Craig, has I think, unique perspective on offering his clients the best available service. They're willing to go out of their way to do things for you that other travel agencies aren't. So you're in such great hands. They're one of our largest partners in North America. So it's just always great to work with you and the team. And we really appreciate everyone taking the time to be with us here today. And we can't wait to welcome you aboard one of our ships very soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.